Hello, this is an astrological update for the month of October 2021. Wow, like I wanted to make this video last week, but honestly, there's so much going on, and it took me a while to organize my thoughts about what's transforming for us in October. And so now I'm have a better sense, and I have like copious amounts of notes that I'm going to be reading from, and I've organized the information in a way that I hope will make sense for you and serve your life. At the end of this reading, I'll break down three major areas of your life. I'll do it for each of the signs. Three major areas of your life that are going to be mostly impacted by what's going on. However, a lot is going on. So you may be feeling this in many areas of your life. But first of all, just to catch us up, from the point of the equinox and that full moon in Pisces that we experienced around the 20th of September, the energy took a dramatic turn. For the first half of this year, we were very much focusing on our personal development. There were a lot of experiences. Many people had their very specific recipe for being completely shredded this summer. If you watch any of my videos, I like to call it sort of like we entered like a medicine summer. We had a medicine ceremony summer, and everyone I talk to, I've just been gathering in groups again and sharing experiences, and everyone I talk to has like a really personalized, unique experience of how they got shredded, whether it was through like health situations and surgeries and, accidents, or really deep, intense relationship issues, or like stuff that had to do with like their the way that they serve in the world, and having their whole paradigm of spirituality shifted because of certain experiences of how they serve. I mean, just incredible summer for all the personal work. And through September, we use the Virgo energy to come fully into our sovereignty. We use that all of that Virgo period of time while the sun was there to kind of complete the individual, complete the self, do that self-work, get our temple organized and situated, stand on our own 2 feet, like really get clear on what we believe, where are our boundaries, how's our relationship with ourselves, just all of that, so that we could, by the equinox, step into relationship with the outer world through our personal relationships at first, and then taking the practice that we get with our personal relationships to help us to see how the world at large will be impacted by the new way we bring our character into those personal relationships. So what's shifted from the equinox is there's been a call to step into the community, a call to step into sharing more, there's been Mercury's been squaring Saturn, so it's almost like there's been this pretty strong table discussion. Mercury's been square, Pluto, excuse me. Mercury's been square Pluto. And so there's been a very strong kind of table discussion of like, these ways of conducting myself and these ways of communicating have to be in complete integrity. Like we need to find any areas of my belief and thought forms, or my way of relating, or my way of conversing, or my way of showing up for myself, or my way of being in a relationship with you. We need to make sure that all of this is really clear and unambiguous. We need to cut out any like preconceived notions or any gray areas. There can be no assumptions made. Let's actually not pretend like we can read each other's minds. Let's get everything out on the table and let's have the hard conversations. So that's sort of what's brought us to right now. That square is still in play. But as we enter this week, we had Venus trining Neptune. That was really potent yesterday and today. It's still sort of happening. Today's the 30th that I'm recording this. So yesterday, that Neptune Venus trine sort of opened up the moon was also in Cancer. So it opened up our emotional body. It opened up our spiritual body. It sort of loosened up some of the rigidity that we've been having. I was kind of seeing this metaphor of like loosening a knot in a chain necklace. Like it's sort of like, if you pull, the knot just gets stronger and stronger. So you kind of have to wiggle the knot and finesse the knot and like push the pieces together. And, that all starts creating space. And when you start seeing the space between the pieces, then you can finesse it and work it a little bit more. That's sort of the energy of the Venus trine Neptune that I was feeling and hearing about in the collective. And we're loosening that knot, likely through our interactions with other people at this time, due to where a lot of the planets are focusing in Libra. Now, I will go into specifics for each of the 12 signs, but this is just general for the collective. And so this is happening for everyone in some way, shape, or form. But what it prepared us for was today. Today, Mars is opposite Chiron, and Mars is in Libra. Mars is in this space that's trying to like conduct self in a harmonious, fair, balanced, keeping the peace, like keeping the harmony, keeping like wanting to keep diplomacy. And it's standing right across from Chiron and Aries. And Chiron and Aries is bringing our collective consciousness to the wound that exists within us that would feel nervous about stepping out as ourselves, like sharing our messages, any programming around like, is it okay for me to share this? Is it okay for me to say this? Is it okay for me to be like this? Is it okay for me to be the individual that I am right now? And I have unconscious programming around being able to speak my truth, especially in groups of people, and being able to say things that are not like necessarily accepted or kind of off the status quo. So that right now, for us all to be standing in our integrity and behaving in our integrity, there's a little piece of us that is healing around recognizing that it's okay for us to be different and have different viewpoints and opinions from the consensus. And so that is happening at the same time that Venus is squaring Jupiter. So this is just today, but I'm going to go into, this is just setting the scene for October. Like we haven't quite closed September, so let's like really clench the September thing, and then we'll move into the energy of October, because with these pieces in place, it actually is adjusting this blueprint that when the outer planets of Pluto and Jupiter and Saturn begin moving forward again, they're going to take this blueprint and begin building again. So we're in a process of reorienting pieces of the blueprint, because we want, like with Venus squaring Jupiter right now, we want to include all of the sensuous nature of our sovereignty. Like there's something coming to the surface for many, many, many people right now, hopefully the majority, where we cannot sacrifice our sovereignty anymore. And someone had asked me recently, well, does sovereignty mean that you're like doing things by yourself or you're going things all alone? And absolutely not. That is not what sovereignty means in the way that I'm describing it. Sovereignty is the freedom to exactly be your authentic way, the authentic way you feel, the authentic way you see, the authentic, regardless of whether anyone, including yourself, thinks it's wrong or right. It's like, no, like this is just how I'm feeling in this moment. And I need to be free to be able to tell you that, or to be able to like honor that, and to be able to have that sovereignty respected, and to not feel like I'm obligated or in any kind of servitude to not be this sovereignty that I am. And so relationships have gone through so much transformation, because a lot of our relationships were not necessarily based on sovereignty. They were based on conditions and rules and blueprints that we adopted from our families and society or culture that just simply didn't fit the model of sovereignty that's coming to the surface right now. And so we probably have seen a whole bunch of relationship destabilization in the past year. If you're even still in the relationship you started in this year, congratulations, because that means the two of you have definitely been having a lot of big conversations. But a lot of people are actually parting ways because they're learning that they don't have to feel ashamed for the way that they feel and truly feel authentically. And they can have these conversations without making anyone wrong or bad. And that by liberating themselves from the rules and blueprints, they're truly feeling fulfilled in themselves in a way that just never quite was accessible before. So this surfacing right now, it's created a lot of instability, and it's loosening a lot of knots, but it's also giving an opportunity for us to rewrite the foundational blueprint, the foundational matrix that all of our future decisions and actions will build upon, so that we are manifesting a whole new experience of our reality. So what day are we? Oh, let me get us up to speed. So Mars opposite Chiron, Venus squaring Jupiter. So that's all today. And that's up to like completing the month of September. As we enter into October, we're definitely experiencing the beginning of this Mercury retrograde. Mercury started retrograding on Monday, and Mercury is retrograding in Libra, which is a gift, because it's like we've had so much personal growth, and we are all such different people after this shredding, that's giving us an opportunity to communicate with people that we haven't really even talked to since before the shredding, and grant everyone the grace of knowing that we've all emerged this summer as totally new beings. I don't think anyone has emerged unscathed. So if you're receiving messages or invitations from people who are authentically seeking maybe even difficult conversations, feel it in your system, obviously feel it somatically. That's what Venus is asking you to do in Scorpio. Feel your boundaries, feel the way it feels to your body, feel the way, if you feel that there's any type of opening for some kind of grace and compassion and forgiveness and resolution or right relationship, when anyone from your past shows up, then offer the grace and let the trembling occur, and keep an open heart. Continue to hold your boundaries, and don't say anything or do anything that feels like it's beyond your boundaries, but know that we have the freedom to say no on a greater scale, free from any kind of shame or obligation or people pleasing or any kind of weird patterns that you used to be in play. All those programs really got shredded over the summer. So everyone's showing up a little bit totally new. So this retrograde, allow yourself to sort of square dance. Someone I was listening to was talking about do-si-do and square dancing with players from your past. It might just be that there's certain cross-pollinizations that can be happening with this Mercury retrograde that will help to illuminate, give you some like alternate perception on what happened, and just kind of like come to a greater clarity and acceptance that whatever happened was for the greatest good, and it was all supposed to happen, and it happened exactly the way it was supposed to, even if it seemed chaotic or painful. But like this, it was the great reorganization, it was the great shredding. So we all kind of behaved and acted as players in each other's lives to catalyze like really important processes and openings. So, definitely Mercury is asking us to sit at the table of uncomfortable conversations with Pluto, and to like really put things to an end or end certain judgments that we hold in relationships for the greatest good. And it's retrograding at this 25, 24 degree, the square's at the 24 degrees, but it retrograded at 25. So it's very much like, think of the bigger picture. Think of like, one conversation I had with someone was, this person was like, I don't know if I should have this conversation right now. And I said, look, you know what, why don't you fast forward like 6 months from now? Would you want this issue to be one of the foundational pieces of your blueprint that is going to be used to build something that you're going to be experiencing 6 months from now? And all just that perception alone was like, oh no, I got to have this conversation right now. And I'm like, yeah, like take care of it while it's in the blueprint phases. Because when these outer planets begin moving forward, the building will begin occurring, and the planets of grace will graciously given us the blueprint period with the very lengthy consensual retrograde that they all kind of conspired to have at the same time. So, all right. So Mercury square Pluto, that's been in play and is continuing to be in play, and is just, yeah, nip it in the bud while it's in the blueprint phase. That's all I got to say. Get the eraser out, repair. On the 3rd of October, we have the sun opposite Chiron with Mercury trine Jupiter. So as I'm recording this on 9:30, so if you're watching this after the fact, look back to like what was on the table for you on September 30th. Mars definitely was opposing Chiron, and it was asking us to be in right relationship with our actions, right? So when the sun is opposite Chiron, that's when our conscious, like, oh, we'll have a conscious mind of like why being in integrity was so important, and why it was so important for us to be able to speak from our unique individuated selves, and even maybe why the wound of being afraid to speak our truth was there in the first place. So I see a lot of like real conscious, harmonious awarenesses and epiphanies, and understanding how that is going to definitely affect the future creations that come with every decision we're making right now. So that kind of sums up that week. As we move into the next week, we will have the energy will actually definitely intensify. Yeah, I have this sort of separated out in weeks. So the week between the 10th and the 6th and the 10th, that week we've got a new moon in Libra. And the new moon in Libra is happening with a whole bunch of other things at the same time. Pretty much the entire week is going to feel like a big punctuation mark, like a big, huge confirmation. Like it could feel like a lot of pressure being released all at once. Again, what we're doing is we're trying to surface. It's like it's like final curtain call. It's like if you've ever been on like a construction job and you've got this deadline for when the blueprints have to be done because the crew is going to come in and pour the foundation. This is okay, it's go time. Anything that hasn't fully surfaced, anything that we need to understand or see or bring into right relationship, all of our executive mind, the person that can analyze and look over the plans and make sure that there's no glitches in the system, there's no shadows in the machine, like it's all functioning pretty well. And so the new moon in Libra is at the same time as Pluto moving direct in Capricorn. So we're like, it's like we finished the blueprints and we're presenting the blueprints to the builders. So that feeling of like the shaky feeling when you're about to present something like a long document, like a grant proposal, or a business plan, or a model for a relationship, or like just something. And this isn't like we're presenting it to external entity, although some people may act that out in their real lives, but it's like we're presenting this to our life, and we're saying, okay, this is the blueprint, this is who I am now, and this is how I would like to continue building my relationship with the world and my life. So we are presenting the blueprints. Pluto, which is the demolition crew, is going to look over the blueprints and begin stationing to move direct in Capricorn. At the same time that all of this is happening, Venus is going to move into Sagittarius on the 7th, kind of shifting the energy from, like, I've been holding my boundaries. I've been paying attention somatically to whether or not this feels like a hell yes or a hell no. I've been really conscious to where the line between you and me is, and, you know, just holding all of that. Now I'm going to move into Sag, and I'm going to let my passion just guide. I'm going to go ahead and just let my passions lead me from this point forward, because I'm going to trust that those blueprints have been set into motion, and I'm going to go for it. So Venus heads in that direction. The Sun and Mars are exactly conjunct this week, conjunct together. They're at the same degree in Libra, and Mercury is retrograded back to that point as well. They all come to this like conjunction with the moon. It's like moon, sun, Mars, Mercury. We're all together. You know, Mercury is being able to communicate. It's like the expression of the blueprints, the expression of the plan. Mars is saying, I've checked and double checked, and I'm ready to completely and fully act upon the blueprints that I'm presenting. And the Sun is saying, and I'm looking at every part of this. There's no part of this that I'm leaving unconscious. I'm completely and consciously presenting this blueprint to my life. And Pluto's saying, all right, you know, thanks for giving me, you gave me the blueprints. I'm gonna demo anything that's not in alignment with the blueprint that you just gave me. Then Saturn moves direct on the 10th in Aquarius, and Saturn says, fantastic. Are we ready to go? All right, let's go. Let's build this now. So both of those planets moving direct, they've been holding back and waiting for us to do this, to present these blueprints. And so here we are, we presented them. And now it's like, there's that moment where you've let the plans go, and you just have to have faith that all of the inner work you've done, all the conversations, all the all the hard work, it's been guided and held this entire time. It's all just going to be a reflection of what we were capable of being open and surrendered and in bliss about. So then the next week. So also on a side note, I sort of categorize these weeks energetically, and definitely the energy of that middle week with all the new moon and all that, it's like a 3 of Swords energy. There definitely could be like things that will like ideas that could come in that could feel fearful, that could feel painful, ideas that can feel like that could cause you to kind of shake and like press into certain, you know, fears or pain or worry. Just know that that's par for the course when we're doing something bold. And know that in the previous week, the week that we're in right now, you made your heart made these decisions, your consciousness made these decisions, and the decisions they began, you know, the Ace of Wands or Swords it began around the equinox. So you had the Ace of Swords, you know, creating this new idea, the 2 of Swords, carefully choosing your direction. And then we have the 3 of Swords during that week between 10-6 and 10-10, where you're kind of trusting the extra elements to, you know, happen, and it's impacting, and you're feeling it. And there's definitely some energy there. The following week is the 4 of Swords. And if you're familiar with that, that's sort of a moment of just wait and watch. And so on 10-15, we have Sun trine Jupiter. This is again, consciously waiting and watching how harmoniously your future vision begins to realign. While we're waiting for Jupiter to move direct, you're consciously observing how things are harmoniously coming into place. Venus will trine Chiron on the 16th. Again, like our somatic, she's passionately witnessing how her expression and how her boundaries and how her way of being and following her passions is absolutely in alignment with individual, like being yourself, letting your individual self be expressed and heard, you know, letting yourself channel wisdom, letting yourself share your message, letting yourself honor your truth. Very, for me, it feels very like fifth chakra-y. Also, we'll have the sun squaring Pluto. Again, the sun will sort of illuminate how there's absolutely a few things necessary that we'll need to like still clear from our lives. It's almost like the construction crew says, all right, well, we see what you want to do. There's a few other things in your life that we're just going to need to clear out so that we can continue laying this foundation. So if you could just take care of this, that would be great. So again, you know, oh, all right, okay, great. Well, I'll go ahead and clear that. That's totally fine. It's like as soon as kind of Pluto gives the sun that message, Jupiter on the 18th and Mercury on the 18th, they both begin moving direct. So, all right, got the message, great. You know, all right, let's clear it up, let's do it. And then all of a sudden, beep, beep, beep. You know, the like the concrete's coming and it's like, oh my gosh, it's getting real. Oh my gosh, it's happening. Like, and all of this is metaphoric, obviously, but this is something that we can actually, like, all of us sort of have some sort of connection to the steps it takes for building something that start with a dream and have to move from the dream to, you know, something like sharing the dream in a tangible way so that other people can be called in for our dream, and experts and things like that. And then, you know, remodeling the plans, making sure that everything is going to actually happen. And then, you know, and then when it actually starts happening, it's so exciting. So we'll begin to start seeing movement finally. And Mars will trine Jupiter at the same time that's moving direct. So it's like our Mars feeling, our like activity, it's like we'll know what to do. We'll know like how to serve the next steps. We'll know what actions to take. Like it will make sense to us. Like finally, yes, like I'm going to put all my energy into this. Like, yes, let's go. So that starts the next week. And this week is the 5 of Cups. So in case you were following the more like esoteric energetics of these weeks, the 5 of Cups can also speak to like, okay, as we're moving through this week, the 18th to the 23rd, we got these 2 planets moving direct. We've got the directive of like how we need to act. There will be some changes made, right? And there will be some things that we mourn because we realize that activity or that relationship or that interaction or these material things, they do have to go. We do have to get rid of them, and we do have to kind of put them out. And there could be some grieving this month of like, wow, things are never going to be the same again. Like now that these changes are actually in play, I see that things will never ever be the same as they were before. And it's good, it's bittersweet, right? Like there's always this bittersweet moment where you see you finally wrap up and close the house that you've been living in, and you're really excited about where you're going, but you look back and you're like, wow, there were some good memories there. So that week we may be feeling that. And as we're feeling it, we'll also get a nice big full moon in Aries. The full moon in Aries with Mars also squaring Pluto that week. It's going to be, it will kind of feel like, we're off on a new adventure. Like this is like, whoa, like what have I done? Like I've totally like initiated a whole new thing in my life. Like, wow, that moved really fast. Wow, this is happening really, really quickly. Whoa, like there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. Like I've totally got to be in my integrity now. I've totally got to make sure that I am, holding, it's like explosive activity in response to realizing that the change has actually taken place. And then the sun will move into Scorpio on the 23rd. And when that happens, our consciousness will be like, yes, like absolutely yes. Like it's almost like everything's moving so fast. If you can, the metaphor I keep getting is like you're on a construction site and like the lumber is being delivered, and like people are trying to deliver drywall that's kind of crumbly in the corners, and you have to be like, no, that's not okay. Like send that away. Like, oh yeah, bring that in, put it over here. You guys need to come up. Like when Mars is in Scorpio, it's very like, yeah. And this, and then nope, that's not acceptable. And like, yes, come over here. Like Mars likes being in Scorpio. So, well, depending on your comfort level with, you know, speaking your boundaries and holding your boundaries and like being, or I'm sorry, Mars is not in Scorpio yet. Mars will move into Scorpio at the end of the month. So, but the sun will be there. So, okay, the sun is going to see all the things, right? I'm sorry. But the sun moves into Scorpio on the 23rd. The sun will see the drywall coming in that's crumbled in the corner, and we'll see that the plumbing is not actually plumb or whatever, you know, we'll see like, okay, wait, hold on. Like all of this is happening really fast. It's all coming together. I need to really be conscious of these things while like in this stage, because if we continue building on top of that and it's not in right relationship, it's going to be big problems later on. So that's what will happen when the sun moves into Scorpio. And then Venus will square Neptune. Venus, we started this conversation in this reading talking about Venus trining Neptune, and Venus trining Neptune was loosening up the knots so that we could see in between and like loosen some of our blueprints and rules and boundaries, right? Well, now with Venus square Neptune, she's in Sagittarius, and she's definitely feeling her passions and she trusts her boundaries. So now with a square to Neptune, she's like, no, this is the way I see it. And so with Venus squaring Neptune and Sag, with Sun squaring Saturn also, and with Mars moving into Scorpio the final week I feel will be actually really harmonious. I feel it will be like really, really sweet. It's a 6 of Cups week. I feel it'll be like Venus is saying, I'm definitely like this, all of these things are beautiful. These are all going to go here and here and here. This is exactly how I envisioned it all. And I'm so happy it's coming together. The Sun square Saturn will say, yeah, absolutely. Like, let's make sure that we get the structure aligned really well. Like there could be a little constriction on the 30th of like, we got to like kind of keep these timelines, and we got to kind of keep our boundaries tight. And like, and then Mars moving into Scorpio will be like that person that's like, no, this over here, that over here. So I see like a lot of change, absolute change in this month of October. And I see it as kind of being really strong leaders of our lives as we reach the end of the month, and a lot of movement. Like I feel like the beginning of the month and the end of the month are going to feel dramatically different. And just as a heads up, Venus knows that she's going to be moving retrograde in December, and she's going to move retrograde in Capricorn. So Venus also knows that there may be, she may be preparing for some sort of sabbatical. She may be preparing for some sort of retreat in her physical domain. She may see reason to recalibrate the things that she wants to leave as a legacy on this planet. And I'm speaking to the feminine principle within each one of us, not necessarily like females, but definitely we may be hearing this from females. So just know that we're the reason why all this work is sort of coming in a flurry is we're preparing for a massive Venus retrograde where she will sort of hold back and wait for Mars to catch up. And then they'll walk through the threshold together of this new incarnation in 2022. I believe it's in March. I'd have to check my notes, but I'll be doing massive 2022 year ahead stuff. So just be aware of that. But I wanted to give you a heads up of like, why the flurry now? Like, also, this isn't like no stalling, you know, if there's any part of you that wants to sit and wait for things to calm down, they're just not going to. It's not really the time for that. It's time to really be engaged in life. And not that there needs to be any pressure. Like the thing that's beautiful is nature does everything naturally all by itself. We co-create our experiences with nature by agreeing to be alive, I guess. So I'm not meaning to like put any like fear or pressure into anything. It mostly just feels like when we're totally surrendered to these natural cycles, it all just happens. Like the conversations just surface, like the like changes just occur. Like we feel inspired and we act on it. You know, there's only one moment at a time, ever, ever. And so it's not like we need to look at this whole month in advance and plan for it, right? It's going to happen inevitably. And so all we need to do is show up moment to moment and feel authentic and speak authentically and trust that that's all that there is. That's all that we got to do. Like we're exactly tuned to be in harmony with nature. We're exactly tuned to be. And the way that we stay in tune is we just naturally express whatever we're naturally experiencing and feeling. And sometimes that will bring us to our knees crying. And sometimes that will, make us feel like we need to sleep. And sometimes we'll cry, and sometimes we'll laugh, and sometimes we won't work when we need to work. And sometimes we'll, want to watch movies instead of go out. I don't know, like all of it is natural though, and it's what is intended. So there's a lot of, I don't know, that's just my little personal thing. I just would love to kind of pollinate more of that into the world. So now I'm going to go for each of the 12 signs, the primary areas I feel that are going to be in play for each of the 12 signs. The primary places I'm seeing are the places where you have Libra, the places you have Aquarius, and the places you have Aries. There's a lot more, but if you pay attention to these three places, I think that you'll be able to totally like lean into some of these energies. So the reason why I'm saying that is because Sun, Mars, and Mercury and the new moon are all in Libra. The Sun, Mercury is doing its retrograde through Libra. I mean, there's just a lot of emphasis on Libra right now, and that's the portal for each person for how they set the stage for right relationship with the world. So whatever house I'm expressing for you for this Libra energy, that would be an area in your chart or an area in your world that would be mostly emphasized by that energy. And then the next place I'm emphasizing is Aquarius. And that's because Saturn and Jupiter will be moving forward in Aquarius this month. And that's where the new construction will begin happening. Full moon will be in Aries. That's going to be that like real big punctuated active week that we have with the full moon on the 20th. That's going to be an area of your life that you're like, oh, and it's also where Chiron is. So it kind of speaks into where the collective wound may be kind of being called to your attention right now. So for each of the 12 signs, and the way that you would best optimize this, like if you identify as like, oh, I'm an Aries, like the sun was in Aries when you were born, you could listen to Aries. What that would do is it would put Aries in your first house or on your ascendant. And then for the entire tribe of Aries, it's kind of like a collective for your soul tribe. But if you know what your rising sign is or what you primarily have in your first house, if you know what that is, then this will be a little bit more personalized for you based on your natal chart. So for Aries, you're going to experience a lot of the relationship stuff directly in your relationships. It's going to be directly in your 7th house. So you just like, I'm sure it's already happening for you. I'm sure you're already like, wow, I'm being invited into so many conversations and talking with friends and, people from the past, like lots and lots of friendships and romantic relationships probably coming to the surface. And so you're probably navigating a lot of past relationship patterns. Totally be with them. It's helping you to set a new blueprint for being in right relationship from this point forward. So definitely be with that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I just had a total freak out. I thought that maybe I wasn't recording. That would have been such a bummer. I'm totally recording. Aries, thank you so much for giving me that little jump, right? I was just realizing that, yeah, Mercury's retrograde. What if I forgot to record all of this? anyways, no, I gratefully am recording. Okay, so then you have Saturn and Jupiter moving direct in your 11th house. This is, again, a very, very social location for you. So this is like, okay, who are you serving? Who are you affiliated with? Like, what groups do you let yourself give your time and energy and focus to? How are you impacting them? How do you know you belong with them? All of this is going to start to build. You probably will get some really ingenious ideas of services to provide and like ways to deliver your gifts so that they impact people in a really, really sustainable, harmonizing, like powerful way that will change the paradigm of the future. Like that's the kind of things you're probably thinking about right now, Aries, if you have Aries in your first house. And then the full moon will be in your first house of your personal character. And so there will be this like, wow, okay, now that I understand how I'm in right relationship with others, and now that I understand what I'm bringing into the world as my legacy of who I am and impacting others, now I even have a more renewed sense of who I am on a fundamental level. Like it finally hits home for you with that full moon in Aries. So congratulations, Aries. I see this being a very, very exciting time for just stepping into the greater, bigger world. And it's probably something that you've been ruminating on for such a long time. And finally, you're just like, oh, I get it. Yes. For Taurus, you have this whole Libra energy in your 6th house. So the sun, Mars, Mercury, new moon, all this retrograde. So for you, all of this energy is about like, okay, like what does sovereignty even mean for me? Like, how do you stand on your own 2 feet? How do you feel free in the world? Like what on earth do you need in order to feel like you're secure and whole and you're able to thrive on your own and bring that whole version of you into the world, into relationships? So it's like, even though the whole world is like stepping into relationship, it's like you're having relationships to practice being sovereign. You're using and leveraging your experiences and relationships to reflect on who you are when you feel sovereign in those relationships, if that makes sense. And what will happen as you're feeling all of this, and when Saturn and Jupiter move forward, you're going to have a whole new understanding of the legacy that you leave on this planet. It'll be like ideas of like what you want to be even doing in the world, what will feel fulfilling for you in the world. Like you'll be inspired finally to build something in the real world that feels meaningful and fulfilling for you, that will impact others. So beautiful. And you may have been really stalled on that. That could have been something that was really foggy for you. Like you kind of had some ideas of what you wanted, of like your purpose. You might have had some ideas of what you wanted to do, but with these planets moving forward, finally, it's like, oh, now I get it. Now I actually am ready to like lay that down and actually put that out there. And then the full moon in Aries will happen in your 12th house. So this will give you a sense of coming home spiritually, of like the unique experience you have with your unconscious and your synchronicity and the weaver of life. It'll kind of hit you finally that like your way of doing things in the world is totally unique to you, and you don't have to compare your way to anyone else's. Your way is not better or worse than anyone else's. It's just yours. And like the weaver is leading you, and a lot of your world could happen very unconsciously, and just trust. Like maybe there will be this renewal of faith and trust with the Aries full moon. So now Gemini, the Sun, Mars, Mercury, new moon, Mercury retrograde scenario in Libra is happening for you in your 5th house. So your 5th house, your primary question is, does this feel good to me? Does this feel fun? Does this feel like the way I want it to feel? Are these relationships like exciting and fun to me? Is this like filling me up? Does this like always, your primary question during this whole retrograde is like, it's just like, does this feel good? Like, what a wonderful primary question to have, but of course it could bring up a lot, and there may be a lot of things you do that just don't feel good. And it's time for you to be honest with yourself. Like, this is not adding joy and pleasure to my life. This is not feeling like creative and meaningful for me. In fact, this is stifling my creativity and energy and joy. So that's like the primary thing that you'll be needing to focus on. And with Saturn moving forward and Jupiter moving forward, that's happening in Aquarius in your 9th house. So, or your whole guiding principle may have new construction. Like, you may begin leading your life with like, if it doesn't spark joy, it doesn't belong. And this is my guiding principle from this point forward. All of my decisions from this point forward have to nourish my soul and feel joyful and feel creative. And if they don't, then it's not for me. And I'm just going to let that be my guiding principle from this point forward. I'll let joy be my teacher. And that's going to build the new paradigm for you, Gemini. The full moon will be in your 11th house. So you may find that by honoring your joy and honoring that guiding principle as your truth, that you have a massive impact on other people. That like your way of being, finding yourself in more joyful places, like everyone starts perceiving you in such a more joyful way, and you start realizing like, this is just my way. Like being me, doing it my way is actually the most impactful thing I can do to have an impact on the people in my world and shift the paradigm of this planet. So Gemini, it looks like a pretty fun way to approach what's happening right now. Cancer, the Sun, Mars, Mercury, new moon, Mercury retrograde, all of that juice is happening in your 4th house. And the 4th house is sort of a personal house to you anyway, Cancer. So the 4th house, all the things that you're thinking about, you are definitely coming into right relationship with what's nourishing for your needs. What do you need in order to thrive? Like what do you need when you're vulnerable? Like it's like you have relationships with all these individuals, and all the conversations you need to have right now are like, wow, like in order for me to feel resourced, in order for me to feel nourished in my life, I really just need to have this conversation with you. I really just need to let this be known. I really need to make sure I'm like integrating this into my blueprint of relationship moving forward, because I have to include myself in this relationship. And when I include myself, I have so much more of myself to give. But without that important element, I am not who I want to be in relationships. I'm not how I want to show up. I don't feel whole. I can't necessarily provide you the safe haven that you seek, because I'm not a safe haven to myself. And so it's really, really about you giving yourself that first and communicating to everyone in your world about that. Then the Saturn and Jupiter moving forward, that is going to actually start building a whole new foundation of intimacy in your relationships. Like suddenly you holding your intimacy with yourself will transform and begin building whole new foundations for intimacy with the relationships that you hold most dear, with your primary relationships. So you may not have really seen a lot of movement in the arena of like deep, long-term intimate relationships, but expect that things will begin to really start moving forward in October for you, because you've really done the nourishing work to honor your own needs and resource yourself first and include yourself in those relationships. the full moon will show up in your 10th house. So by you doing all of this, there's going to be a huge renewal in the place of your legacy. Like you probably will get a huge epiphany moment of like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to share with the world. This is what I'm supposed to put out there. This is my purpose. This is my pearl of great price that I have worked so hard to hone for myself. And now I'm ready to give that to the world. So you may have been really stalled on this. This is something that maybe you've been like mulling over for a really long time and like trying to make a deliverable on, and the plans were all just retrograde. You might have just really felt stalled in delivering that, but now by the end of the month, you finally have this like tangible pearl that you want to share. So really exciting for you, Cancer. Leo, the sun, Mars, Mercury, new moon, Mercury retrograde stuff all happens in your 3rd house. And so the 3rd house, you are going through, it's like you're investigating all of your foundational beliefs. You're like realizing that a lot of your beliefs were just opinions and they were perceptions based on your experiences, but something is happening for you right now where your whole mind is changing around everything. Like you're seeing things from a totally different perspective. You're listening to your relationships. You're listening to their feedback. You're communicating and keeping an open mind. You're just like, if you allow your mind to completely reorient and restructure right now, your understanding in interpersonal relationship will just tremendously shift your education of relationship. So it's really, really a good time for you to be having an open mind and just really listening with the intention to reroute the way your mind works. What will happen through all of this is Saturn and Jupiter will begin moving direct and pouring the foundation for more relationships. Like if you were the kind of person that was actually looking for more fulfilling friendships and relationships, or more like more trust in relationships, I guess, that trust will start moving forward and those relationships will start to feel more fulfilling now that you've kind of reoriented your mind and you've started to listen to understand rather than be right. I don't know if you're doing that, Leo, but that's just what's coming through. So listening to understand rather than be right. And when you understand, all of a sudden you learn that you can actually really trust and that these friendships can feel really nourishing to you. And so you're setting a foundation for relationship and right relationship. So then the Aries full moon will give you some sort of treasure in your guiding principle. Like you're going to see this in your 9th house. So it's like somehow there'll be this nugget of truth that you get that's like, oh, this is how I'm going to guide my life from this point forward. So I just need to know this about myself and honor this part of me. And from this point forward, that's going to be the treasure that helps me to lead my life. So it's very much like there's some aha moment about you, like something aha about your uniqueness or the way that you are, and all of the understanding you get from these conversations gives you the ability to like come into greater acceptance of you, and then you get to be your guiding principle even more so. Like you always wanted yourself to be the guiding principle, but even more so you're validated in which parts of you can trust even more fully. That makes sense. Virgo for you, the Libra energy of Sun, Mercury, new moon, all of that actually shows up in your 2nd house. So you are definitely rethinking your worth, your value, like the deliverables, the things that you feel are like super, super important to you. The things that it's like you're completely reevaluating the order of your value system, and you're having lots and lots of conversations with your relationships right now to like help you to clarify even more deeply what it is you truly value. And Virgo, you're such a like the sun is, you're such a sovereign like soul anyway, but you know, at this time you're getting so much more clarity on the non-negotiable values that you have and how to communicate those. And just, it's almost like you're navigating by feel through the needs you have to uphold your worth and value. And while you're having these conversations and you're really allowing your friendships and your relationships to reveal more of these values to you, you will see some movement in your sixth house of sovereignty, of independence. It's like almost, you might even be having conversations about your resources. Like maybe something that's happening for you right now is you're valuing yourself and what you produce in the world even more. And this is helping you to move forward with like real independence, like real maybe financial independence or relationship independence, some sort of like freedom and security and stability, some sort of completion that you've been craving for such a long time. And maybe you've been like, gosh, I feel like this should be working. Like, how is this just not quite hitting quite yet? But by the end of this month, I think that you're going to be seeing how your life becomes self-sustaining in a really, really tangible way. And you will know exactly how to put your energy into that system so that it really builds something for you, so that you actually have a stronger platform to launch yourself into the bigger world from. And then what will happen, this full moon will be in your 8th house. So there will definitely be some illumination on your relationship with intimacy. There will be some like aha moment about the way that you show up as an individual intimately with the other. And I feel like this will be a really huge gift for you, Virgo, that you'll see that you don't have to sacrifice any part of yourself to experience intimacy. And I'm getting like tinglies on the top of my head. It's very like, woo, it's very exciting for Virgos, for the entire Virgo tribe. So yeah, Virgo, congratulations. All your hard work's about to pay off. You're going to see a lot of the harvest of everything that you've been working toward for a very long time in so many different arenas of your life. So congratulations. And I expect that the next cycle will be profoundly impactful for the world. So good job, Virgo. So now Libra, ooh, all of this is happening in your 1st house. You're going through a massive personal identity overhaul. I would say that there's a lot of attention right now on like who you are and how you want to show up in the world. Who are you in every relationship? Who do you want to be in every relationship? And how is who you are impacting those relationships? So a lot of questions about, really a big conversation about the authenticity of you, and just really, really super honoring everything about yourself, and in no way, shape, or form sacrificing any part of you for, because Libra, ask yourself, if is there anything you're doing right now that you wouldn't be okay doing 6 months from now? If there's anything like that, change it now. Just be it now. Be who you want to be now. Express how you want to express, dress how you want to dress, do your hair the way you want to do it, decorate your house the way you want to do it, work where you want to work, say what you want to say, be who you want to be, because this is going to be like tuning the entire environment around you to honoring, respecting that, and it'll harmonize and cross-pollinate so beautifully with everyone around you. Like it's like the vibration will just like, oh, let me, like, it's like it will change your environment so much. You'll just see your entire world shift to harmonize with who you are. And then the Aquarius energy that you'll see moving forward is going to happen in your 5th house of joy and pleasure. So make sure that whoever you are now, it includes your greatest pleasure and joy and excitement and fun and creativity and play. Know that that could have been stifled for a period of time. It may have been felt really hard for you to have some time to really like let your breath out and laugh, you know. And so now this month you're pouring the foundation for so much more of that. And it's coming, Libra, it's coming. And honoring yourself is absolutely that first step that's happening right now. And then the Aries full moon is going to powerfully punctuate your relationship house. There may be just this like aha moment of, wow, this is what relationship can feel like. Wow. Like it's like while you're being yourself, you are frequenting places that maybe you've always wanted to frequent and doing things you've always wanted to do. And in your bliss, you're making friendships and having relationships that totally resonate with your nature. And so I see this Aries full moon definitely bringing some powerful energy to reflect all of that self-love back to you in the form of a relationship. So that's very beautiful, Libra. Scorpio, the Sun, Mars, Mercury, new moon, Mercury retrograde stuff is all happening for you in your 12th house. And this is a mysterious house for all this to happen. I would say out of all the signs, you're probably experiencing the most surrendered period of time. Like you probably have to just sort of like throw your hands in the air and be like, oh, I just gotta like flow with every moment right now, because like your external world is probably presenting a lot to you that you're responding to, and you're just having to feel all of it and decide, does this feel like yes, does this feel like no? Like it's like a lot of responsiveness, a lot of like basically what I'm seeing is your life is going to present all kinds of different opportunities to you, and all you need to do is respond from hell yes or hell no. You pretty much just like let Venus be your guide, let her lead you in your 1st house, let her remind you where your boundaries are. And when you say yes to an opportunity that feels like a hell yes, it just starts the snowball. It just begins the momentum, and more and more and more and more. And then the synchronicities stack up. If you say yes to something that you want to say no to, then you're going to get more things that you're going to need to say no to. And it's just going to be like a sticky, like blech, like a sticky, yucky, like it's not going to be momentum-is. It's going to be more like, ugh, I need to get out of this sludge. And so that's going to be the way that you reroute, like then do the thing that feels better, like just go that way. Like so yeah, very much like letting the weaver organize and orchestrate that for you though. So good luck. You probably have to have the most faith out of all the signs right now. The Saturn and Jupiter moving forward is happening in Aquarius in the 4th house for you. The 4th house is your nourishment, you resourcing yourself at home, you responding emotionally to having your needs met. Again, out of all the signs, you're just going to need to really navigate by feel. If something feels like, basically, like by you doing the work of saying yes to things that feel right and saying no to things that don't feel right, you're going to position yourself into pouring a foundation that will feel really sustainable to your needs. It will feel like home. You're going to build your home by feel. And it's like, you've got to, don't pour anything into your life right now that you don't want to experience in your home for the next era. Be very, very discerning, Scorpio. And so, yeah, there could be like, make sure you get that like blueprint, that do the blueprint work now, so that when they pour the concrete, they're not pouring anything in there that you're going to have to live with for a really long time. That's all I got to say, because it's going to be in your house. So then the full moon is going to be in your 6th house. So the reward you get at the end of all of this is like a shiny new treasure of what sovereignty and freedom can look like for you. So the reward, Scorpio, for doing the hard work of really honoring your boundaries and saying yes and no, and making sure that that foundation is really in right relationship with your emotions and feelings and your integrity and your faith, is going to give you a level of freedom and sovereignty that you've been seeking for a really long time. So yeah, good luck, Scorpio. I have a lot of faith in you. Reach out to me if you need any help or guidance, because you might just have this solid Scorpio. You got a way, but if Scorpio is not your sun sign, if this is just your rising, you might also, need to call on some solid discerning Scorpios in your world to help you like cut through some bullshit. So that's just going to be my little message for Scorpios. Find yourself a Scorpio rising, or at least someone who can like help you like cut through like a razor to the bone. Next we have Sagittarius. For Sagittarius, the Libra energy of the new moon and Mercury retrograde and all that is happening in your 11th house. So you're going to see really like, this is probably going to be a really, really social period of time for you. All like, basically you're having to like feel out the tribe, like you're feeling out like the impact that the tribe has on your life and that you have on the tribe. You're navigating your boundaries, you're navigating what feels right, you're having conversations, you're feeling the pulse, you're very much like out in the sea of all to kind of help you rewrite your blueprint. So I see lots and lots of different types of interactions. Like open up the scope, have lots of conversations, keep it loose, like talk to people from all different types of backgrounds, really like keep an open mind and let the collective really help you to restructure your blueprint right now. And what will happen when you do that is when Saturn and Jupiter move forward in Aquarius, they're going to move forward in your 3rd house of the way your mind works. So opening up all this conversation is actually going to help you to completely reprogram your personal mind. So the openness of all the conversations and all the cross-pollination and all the socializing, that's going to just, totally open you up to totally changing your mind, totally like having new beliefs that serve you much more sustainably, new ways of seeing things, new thought paradigms, new beliefs about yourself, new beliefs about the world. And you'll be building your entire life on these new beliefs, the foundation that's being poured is your foundational core beliefs right now. So those are probably, you may not have really known what those have been, or maybe they've been in like a demolition for a lot of the year, where you've just like, all your core beliefs have just been crushed and destroyed and broken apart, and for good reason. And now, feel out what feels right for you now by talking to lots of people and resonating or not resonating, and then let that inform what you truly believe about your life. And what will happen, the result of all of this belief change, is the full moon in Aries will show up in your 5th house of like real joy, of like playfulness, fun, lightness of being, enjoyment. Like the Aries full moon will probably feel just so liberating and free and fun and creative. It's like a creative new year for you, like tons and tons of Aries energy, tons of healing around you being who you are and expressing yourself and having the joy and fun that you've always known was like real close to you, but maybe you had a hard time just biting into it. So I see that as the gift or treasure that you get from allowing your mind to change. So congratulations and good luck with that, Sag. Capricorn, all of this Libra energy for you, the new moon and all of that is actually happening in your 10th house of the legacy that you leave. So right now you're probably in a really great state of like, oh, this is what I'm doing for the world. Oh, this is my deliverable. Oh, this is like what I'm producing that will actually impact the world with my unique sense of purpose. So you're definitely communicating with groups of people and having relationships that are allowing you to take the pulse on what it is that's needed in the world and why you have the exact special sauce to deliver something that will really impact those individuals and serve them. And so I see this being like a really, really productive time for you getting clear on the greater purpose that you have in the world, the greater purpose that you have as your legacy. And the beauty of this is, Capricorn, just be yourself. Like you just doubling down on sharing yourself and being yourself, that is your legacy. And the more that you do that in your relationships, the more you see that legacy in play, and the more like tangible evidence of that legacy you have to strengthen your resolve, I guess. And what will happen as you deliver this legacy and restructure this legacy is you'll see a huge shift when Saturn and Jupiter move forward in your house, your second house of value. It's also the house of finances. So this could be very profitable for you, Capricorn. It's like you got real clear on some sort of like career purpose or product that you can deliver to the world. And when you do, you actually begin seeing your whole financial situation, your self-worth, your needs, your resources, your values. There's a huge like sustainable foundation being poured for you in this arena. So when they start pouring the concrete, you're going to be like, wow, it's like super exciting, like amazing. So make sure you shore up your self-value and really understand how incredibly valuable you are to the world just by being yourself and sharing yourself with the world. And then the treasure that you will receive with the Aries full moon will arrive in your first house, or I'm sorry, your fourth house of like feeling nourished and resourced, and like you have a strong and stable foundation. So again, this kind of speaks to like giving you, you know, that beautiful home platform to step from. And the fourth house is directly across from your 10th. So it's like by you really delivering your legacy, you really increased your self-worth, and suddenly your home is strengthened and nourished and supported and reflected back to you. So it's very like, don't try to secure your home first, try to like serve the world, and then let your home be secured because you've served the world. So then Aquarius, you've got the Sun, Mars, Mercury, new moon, Mercury retrograde, all of that is happening in your 9th house. So, wow, Aquarius, you're completely restructuring your guiding principle, like your universal truths. You're having all of your relationships are definitely causing you to question and restructure and reorient yourself to what do you truly lead your life by? What are your guiding principles? Who do you let you be your teacher? Who's your teacher? Are your children your teachers? Are your friends your teachers? Are your relationships your teachers? Like, are your, you know, all of this, like, how does the guru show up in all of the everyday relationships that you have? And can you be open to allowing your relationships to cross-pollinate you and open you up? So it's almost like you're kind of letting yourself be led in some ways so that you can reorient yourself to, yeah, I guess this is another opportunity to listen in order to understand, or listen in order to like hear fully rather than to be right. And because there's something valuable that your relationships have to offer you right now in those conversations. And what will happen as you listen and you reorient is something powerful within your character will begin moving forward when Saturn and Jupiter move forward in your first house. So there could have been something kind of stalling when it comes to your character and you just showing up as who you are. You've known that you wanted to step out as this new version of you for a really long time. And finally this month, you feel like, this is who I am. Now I'm setting the foundation of my character. Now I'm setting the foundation of how I really want to show up in the world. And the gift that you will experience due to you fully showing up as yourself is you'll experience brilliant new ideas. I think that you're going to get a really, really brilliant idea by the time of the Aries full moon. Something will, some new idea that you've never thought of before. It'll be just this like, wow, now I know. Now I'm gonna put my mind to this. Now this is what I'll focus on. I understand. I get it. And so I see like a huge epiphany in store for you through this process of this month for you, Aquarius. And now the Pisces, finally. Pisces, all of this new moon, Sun, Mercury, Mars, Libra energy is all in your 8th house. So you've been really working this in your space of intimacy and control and power dynamics. Gosh, like you may be definitely navigating lots of really intimate conversations, like having to not only be like super authentic with your own intimacy with yourself, but like really having to show up and share that with anyone that you share an intimate connection with. And I see this as being a really like personal transit for you, Pisces. It's like, yeah, you're sharing some of the deepest epiphanies of yourself and having some of the deepest, hardest conversations. And you're the treasure, I mean, I'm not gonna, so Pisces, you might want to listen to Scorpio. Yours and Scorpios are probably the most like, wow, you guys might need a little extra support this month. Like surround yourself with people you can reflect off of. Surround yourself with people who like love you unconditionally, who can really hold space for you and who you can share, like practice sharing your intimacy with in a safe container and really like let that sharing be the catalyst for even more of that intimacy to surface. Because what's going to begin moving forward for you with Saturn and Jupiter moving forward is showing up in your 12th house. So the 12th house is like the house of the unconscious and the weaver. So this is a kind of an intangible sort of space. There are things that you've been wanting to move forward, you've been like feeling like there's some like unconscious stalling in your life. There's something holding you back. You're like, maybe it's me, maybe I'm sabotaging myself, maybe I'm holding myself back, something to that effect. And it's just been these outer planets holding your life in place so that you can really feel into the deep work of who you are and really do that transformation. And so now all the things that you've had faith in, that you've had no proof of, you may begin to see your faith story move forward and come to fruition this month. It's like, oh, I can't believe it. It's finally happening. Like I've been having, like, I see like someone crying, like, oh, I've had to hold the candle of faith for this for so long. Like, I can't believe this is actually happening now. Like, thank God. And that may be a feeling you have like, oh, thank you. So just trust just a little bit longer, just keep holding that faith and like being intimate with yourself and really letting that real deep transformation happen, Pisces. And then the full moon in Aries is going to punctuate your second house, and your second house has to do with your values, your resources, your money, your just like having all of your needs met in a certain way. So I see like some sort of beautiful treasure punctuated with this full moon in Aries. Just, it's like rewarding you, like, oh, here you go, here's your moon, here's the light, here's the energy, like you've held on for so long. Now I'm going to just give this gift to you so that you remember what, like, it's like you've worked out your faith muscles so hard, and now finally, like, it's manifested in this beautiful full moon in Aries. So, wow, that was a really long reading. For anyone who's watched the whole thing, congratulations. And thank you so much for sticking with me. I might timestamp all of these so that it's not so tedious to find your information. I just am super grateful. I'm loving all of your feedback. Thank you so much for your comments and your messages. I get them all different ways. Please share this video in the groups that you're a part of, share this video with your friends, please share this. We are all doing our individual parts in our individual lives, in our interpersonal relationships, that's setting the foundation for the world that we're going to get to live in the future. So the more people that can actually just really consciously do this for their lives, the more incredible this playground is going to be when we all step out with this like consciously manifested relationships and consciously manifested expressions of ourselves and consciously manifested purposes that we're delivering. You know, it's like so exciting for me. And I feel that this is the area we need to focus on. This is what we have control over. This is what we can do to impact the bigger world. It all starts, it's like one life at a time. It's one person at a time. It's one decision for joy and authenticity. It's one hard conversation at a time that brings us into integrity and right relationships. So yeah, thank you so much for watching my videos and for just being a part of this with me. This is very fulfilling for my soul, and I hope that it reaches you and lands and serves you in some way. Have a great October, and let me know, give me your feedback, and please like, share, and subscribe. Please help me spread the word. I love you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.